Hello and welcome to week 2. This week we're doing How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. It's a brilliant book, and I don't know, maybe some of you might have seen the movie, because the movie's fantastic too. And if you haven't, then maybe you could put it on your list of things to do over Christmas. Now, I've got my Christmas t-shirt on, and it says, what does it say? Dear Santa, define good. Because sometimes I don't know whether I'm being good or bad or what I'm being. So I don't know whether I'm on the naughty list or the nice list. So here we go. And it starts off with every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, there he is there, look, he looks really miserable, who lived just south of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. It could be, maybe, I think, that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. I wonder what it is. But, can you see him there? He's sitting and thinking. Whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchly frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now, hanging a mistletoe wreath. And they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming, I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early, they'd rush for their toys. And then, oh the noise, oh the noise, oh the noise, noise, noise. That's one thing he hated, the noise, noise, noise. Is it noisy in your house on Christmas morning? Look at that, there's so much going on. They're so excited with their new trucks and their trailers and all the presents that they've asked for, the basketballs, the netballs. Wow, they're so excited. I think I'm going to be excited on Christmas morning. Then, when the Whos, young and old, would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast and they'd feast and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beef, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. Look, they're all having a big Christmas dinner. And that's what we'll all be doing on Christmas Day, having a lovely big turkey. Some of us don't have turkey though. Some of us have roast beef, some of us have ham, and some of us who don't eat meat at all will be having like a nut roast or something like. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. For every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, they would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would be singing. And they'd sing and they'd sing and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how? I wonder what he's going to do. And then, look, you can can see. He got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do, the Grinch laughed in his throat, and he made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. He chuckled and clucked, "What a Grinchy trick! With this coat and this hat, I look like Saint Nick." And do you all know who Saint Nick is? Saint Nick is Santa. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was no one to be found. Did that stop the Grinch? No. The Grinch simply said, "If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead." So he called his dog Max, then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Can you see that? Can you hear that noise in my background? That's my puppy playing with something on the wooden floors. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh and he hitched up old Max. Can you see Max? Then the Grinch said, "Giddy up!" And the sleigh started down towards the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled the air, and all the Who's were dreaming sweet dreams without a care. When he came to the first little house in the square, "This is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus kissed, and he climbed to the roof, empty bags on his fist. What is he going to do? Oh. Then he slid down the chimney, a rather tight pinch, but if Santa could do it, then so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once for a moment or two, then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who's stockings all hung in a row. "These stockings," he grinned, "are the first thing to go." No, what's he going to do? Oh my goodness, he's taken all their stockings. Then he slithered and slunk. That's a terrible noise. With a smile most unpleasant around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn and plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags one by one up the chimney. Give me 1 second. I'm going to have to stop and get this. Oh. She was playing with a marble. Oh, do you ever play with marbles? Goodness. Oh, what's he doing now? He then slunk in the icebox. He took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beef. He cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. He's taken everything. Could you imagine waking up in the Christmas morning and having nothing? Look, the poor Christmas tree. It looks all sad. He then stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. "And now," grinned the Grinch, "I will stuff up the tree." He's even going to take the poor Christmas tree. Look, that's him putting it up the tree. And then the Grinch grabbed at the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound like a coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou who was not more than 2. Can you see her? She's tiny compared to him. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, "Santa Claus, why are you taking our Christmas tree? Why?" Oh dear. But you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie and he thought of it quick. Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, then I'll bring it back here. And his fib fooled the child, then he patted her head, and he got her a drink and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went up the chimney and stuffed the tree up. Then the last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On their walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that even too small for a mouse. Look, can you see the wee mouse looking? And look, he's taken everything, including the logs from the fire. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who's mousies. So nasty. Look at this. That's all their Christmas on the back of his sleigh. It was 15:15 dawn, all the Who's still abed, and the Who's still a snooze when he packed up his sled. Packed it up with their presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags and the tinsels, the trimmings, the trappings. Oh dear. Look. Where 1,000 feet up on the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. Pooh-hoo to the Who's, he was grinchly humming. They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up, I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a minute or two. Then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry, boo-hoo! Look at that, he's got them right at the top of the mountain. Goodness me. That's a noise, grinned the Grinch, that I simply must hear. So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in a low, then it started to grow. There he goes, look, he's listening. But the sound wasn't sad. Why, the sound sounded merry. It couldn't be so, but it was merry. Very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes, then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Look at his face. Look at the dog's face. What's he thinking? What are they doing? Look at that. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it just came the same. I wonder what they're singing. Look at his face. What's he going to do now? And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons, it came without tags, it came without packages, boxes or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, is a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. And he he himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beef. Look, they all invited him to Christmas dinner. Wasn't that a fabulous story? I absolutely love that story. And like I said, if you get a chance over Christmas, I'm sure it will be on the telly. But listen, I hope you enjoyed that story. It was quite a long one today. And I'm really sorry about my wee puppy interrupting. I'm wondering, would you all like to meet my wee puppy? Will I go and get her? Can you hold on 1 minute till I go and find her? Hold on and I'll get her. Oh, she's quite cute. Hang on. So I would like you all to meet my wee lady Penelope. There she is. That's the one that was making all the noise while we were trying to read our story. We were trying to read a story, Penelope. So this is Lady Penelope, and she is our new puppy. She's a bit naughty sometimes, but we love her very much. So there, you're going to say bye-bye to the boys and girls? Say bye-bye, bye-bye. And I hope you enjoyed the story, and I hope you enjoy all the crafts this week. So I'll see you later.